This is Zach.
This is Matthew.
This is Jamie.
And our new podcast member,
Carson.
And this is Beyond the Stands.
So tonight at 7 p.m., we have a lot of good games going around East Tennessee and a little bit of Virginia. But the first game we're going to talk about is Sullivan East and Cherokee. Zach, what do you have to say about this game?
I think Sullivan East, Cherokee both having rough years. Sullivan East, I think, may come out with a win tonight, their first win, I believe. Sullivan East, I know they have a really good receiver. He's in the top for the region for receiving yards. I think it's going to be a very even game between these two. I think it'll be like 28-21. They both throw a lot, and Cherokee, I think, has a little bit better of a running back than Sullivan East. But Carson, what do you got to say in your prediction for this game?
I think both teams struggling this year. Just looking to get a little bit of momentum going for playoffs if they both make it. I'm going to have to go Sullivan East. I think, they're going to air it out tonight and just
Get their
beat them
first
in
win.
the passing game.
Yeah. Another game, second game we're going to talk about, and Carson's game of the week, Cosby and Cloudland. Cosby and Cloudland, this is a big win like the South Green Happy Valley game last week for their conference. Whoever wins this kind of takes the front step in the conference. And Carson, what do you got to say about this since this is your game of the week?
Cosby's shown a lot this year of improvement. I think this is a game that Cloudland shouldn't overlook. Cosby's really improving much this year, like I said, and I think I can see him walking in there and just walking out with a win.
Yeah, Cosby to be known more as a basketball school, many people say, but them having a good year in football this year, and Cloudland always playing their brand of smash mouth football. Murray, what do you got to say about Cosby Cloudland?
Cloudland's going to walk in there, put about 50 on him, and then walk out. That's all I got to say about that game.
Jamie, what do you got to say about Cosby Cloudland?
I'm going to have to disagree with Murray. I think Cosby will come out here, compete with Cloudland. I think Cosby will win this, but I don't think it will be about a lot of points.
I think Cloudland will win this just because I feel like they're the more high-powered offense with Grayson Cole and people like that in their backfield. I just think Cloudland's got this game. Another game, third game we're going to talk about, Mo West versus Davy Crockett. Murray, you've hated Davy Crockett for some reason. What do you got to say about Davy Crockett, Mo West?
I think that 55 ball kind of speaks on what I was saying for the last 6 weeks, the fraud check that they got. They played one good team, and we saw how that came out. So I think Mo West right now is just a better contender.
Yeah, I think Crockett will win this game because Mo West a 2-4 record, Davy Crockett 4-2 record. I think Davy Crockett will win this game, not by a lot, but like 35-21, somewhere around that. Carson, what do you got to say about it?
Well, I think Crockett losing again, that they're kind of expected to win last week. I think they're going to use that for motivation to lock in and try to win this game tonight. And I think they pick up a win against Mill West.
Yeah, I don't know if there was injuries for the Davy Crockett Tennessee High game. I don't know a lot on that game, but I know Davy Crockett did get beat pretty bad last week, which made me sad because I thought Davy Crockett was like a sleeper pick this year. Jamie, do you got anything to say about Crockett?
Not really. I think it'll be a close game between them two. I don't see one being overpowered over each other. But I do believe Crockett will win this
game. Let's talk about Elizabeth and Volunteer. Carson, what do you got to say about Elizabeth and Volunteer?
I think each one will pick up an easy win tonight. I think they're looking to get as much momentum as they can before they verse Greenville.
I feel like Elizabethton's had a very easy schedule this year, not playing a lot of competition this year.
Yeah, and let's also keep in mind that Volunteer is not doing the greatest right now, especially.
Yeah. They actually played a semi-close game with Unicoi last week, which was surprising to me. I thought it would just be a blowout for Unicoi, but Slagle actually won Player of the Week last week. He had a very, very good game. We'll get to that later, but I think, again, Elizabethton's going to just throw all over Volunteer. Volunteer being a pass-heavy team, I still think Elizabethton's defense and their offense is just going to run through them. Jamie, do you got anything to say about Elizabethton?
I think this will be a smash mouth football game for Elizabethton. They're just going to use Jay Bird for them. Volunteers' defense isn't the brightest part of their team. I think their offense is, but I think Elizabethton will win this by 50.
The next game we're going to talk about, our homecoming and senior night tonight, Cumberland Gap versus Happy Valley. I believe this should be a big win for us. Put us back up in the conference, another conference win after losing our conference game last week against South Green. Murray, what do you got to say about Happy Valley Cumberland Gap tonight? With all the festivities going on, we just can't get distracted.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and just stay humble about it because I said we were gonna win last week and it didn't go out the way I wanted it to. So I'm not gonna sit here and just say we're gonna beat Cumberland Gap. I still think we have to play our football. I think
Yeah, we have. This has to be a bounce back game. As Coach Garrett said, it could be a trap game for us. This kind of thing happens in college football all the time, and we just can't get trapped by this game and end up losing tonight. And then that puts us really out of contention for a home playoff game this year and conference. Carson, do you got anything to say about Cumberland Gap Happy Valley tonight?
I think Happy Valley really needs to. They really need to lock in this game if they want a chance of playing a home playoff game tonight. Even though, we can still lock in and kind of have fun a little bit. You mentioned senior night and homecoming, but as long as we just don't let that get in the way with us and we play our football, we should be all right. I think Happy Valley should win pretty comfortably tonight.
Yeah, we got to come out with a different attitude tonight and just have no mercy on Cumberland Gap. Jamie, do you got anything to say? You looking to have a big game like you did last year?
Yeah, that would be nice, but
break the record for Happy Valley.
I think I don't want to be cocky, but I think we'll win. Cumberland Gap's having a rough season so far. I think they're sitting at the bottom of the conference.
I believe so too.
We should win this game by a large margin, but
we can't get trapped.
It was like Vandy and Alabama. It's a trap game.
Yeah, I mean anything can happen on any given night. North Green Yaneka, talk about anything can happen on any given night. Can Yaneka come out and get their second win against North Green after beating Hancock last week? What do you think about that, Carson?
I think it's not likely, but I'd like to see an upset from Yaneka here. North Green's showing a lot of improvement from last year, which they were kind of good last year. So I think North Green should be able to come here and come to Yaneka and win. But I would like to see Yaneka pull off an upset and kind of mess up the Region 1A play for a conference championship.
As much as I want Yaneka to win, I believe North Green will win. North Green's a kind of a powerhouse in 1A right now. Like they're doing very good in 1A. Like a surprising season. Murray, what do you got to say about North Green Yaneka?
I think it'll be a pretty good game. Honestly, Yaneka's not as bad as people say. Like they do have a couple of good athletes, especially in their backfield. Which I mean,
if you got a big running back,
you only need 2 or 3 good running backs, and your offense is good. I mean, if they're good enough, and the front line is, they can just hold a block, then you can do some pretty good things with the run game. But North Green is obviously just looking like the bigger team here. And I think North Green's just going to pull away.
By numbers, North Green should win by a large margin. But we'll see the Yaneka North Green game. We could talk about Cocke County and Tennessee High real quick. Tennessee High, very big win over Crockett last week, 55-20. Cocke County, don't know much about them, but I would say that I think Tennessee High is going to win coming off a big win last week. I think maybe Carson could agree with me.
Yeah. Tennessee High coming off a very impressive win. I think they look to continue the streak going here tonight, and I think they win against Cocke County.
Well, Jamie, do you got anything to say about Cocke County, Tennessee High?
I think Cocke County is doing better than they have in the past few years. Tennessee High has kind of made, I won't say a divot, but they've not done as well as they have.
Yeah, I mean, they lost a lot of pieces last year. So
I think Tennessee High will win this game.
By how much?
I don't know.
I'd say it's gonna be like 28-7. It's my guess for score here. Tennessee High winning the game against Cocke County. A game where this game where I think it should be a blowout, a very big blowout. Unicoi versus Claiborne. Murray, what do you got to say about Unicoi versus Claiborne County?
I do have Unicoi County winning this, but by no means I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. Unicoi County's passing game this year, all together is just, amazing. Colby Jones is a great quarterback. Can really put the ball anywhere he wants and can take it, use his legs, and get some yards. I just don't think Claiborne's going to be able to keep up with their offense.
Agreeable. And the next game, and could be a game of the week, but there's just a little bit better of a game of the week. William Blunt and Dobbins Bennett. Murray, talk us through Dobbins Bennett, William Blunt.
So Dobbins Bennett being one of my favorite teams, to be honest. Just I love their defense, the way they play, the way they're just
hard-nosed defense.
Yeah, and they're you don't see a lot of when you go up to 5A, 6A, 7A, all that. It's more like strategy football. It's not a lot of smash mouth football.
A lot of speed too. But with Dobbins Bennett, it's just strength.
They bring smash mouth. It's honestly just a little taste of 2A. Like, it literally reminds you of 2A football, the way they play.
And they can pass very good, too, with Austin, Skies or Skis?
Yeah.
He's a great
really good
passer.
size
And Dobbins
technique.
Bennett had a few injuries at the start of the year, and that's why a lot of people counted them out. Carson, what do you got to say about William Blunt, Dobbins Bennett?
I think Dobbins Bennett can pick up a win. They're obviously going to not get too ahead of themselves here, but I think they can pull up a win against William Blunt.
Jamie, you got anything to say about William Blunt, Dobbins Bennett? We did watch William Blunt live, their quarterback being pretty good. So it's maybe a battle of a good quarterbacks here.
What was his last name? Like
I don't even know how to say
it. Was like Gronkowski.
Yeah,
I will say
Gronk.
William Blunt could not stop Science Hill, though.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most powerful teams in the city right now.
So we could see how they stand up against a Dobbins Bennett's team.
William Blunt did come out that first half against Science Hill. Aaron it. They had, I think it was like 14-14 at one point. But
but they did
Science Hill
lose
pulled away.
because Science Hill.
Yeah, Science Hill just pulled away. With
Science Hill knows
skill.
it's necessary just to win.
Baylor quote there. Huh?
I love it.
And now on to mine, Jamie, and Murray's game of the week. Eagleton and South Green. This game is being played at South Green. This is a very, 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 very big game for Happy Valley. After we took a rough loss to South Green last week, if Eagleton beats South Green, that puts us back at number 1 in the conference and a home playoff game. As long as we win out, we can get a home playoff game. But if South Green loses one of these conference games between Hampton and Eagleton, that puts us back in number 1 because of the head-to-head matchups. Murray, how excited are you for Eagleton South Green tonight?
I want to say, even though we beat Eagleton, I think we can all agree that they were.
I think Eagleton matches up very well to South Green with their passing game. And
Eagleton was a really hard win for us. I mean, I know the score made it look like we kind of came away with it, but it's still we worked really hard for that win. They're a great passing team. Nate Clemens might be one of the best 2A.
I think he's the best quarterback we'll face all year. But another thing with Eagleton, their star defensive lineman that was runner-up for defensive lineman of the conference last year was out against us because of some stuff that happened in school that day. So that could make a big difference whenever South Green tries to run at him and he just shuts down their run. So tonight, Happy Valley's pulling for Eagleton. We want Eagleton to win so we can go back into the first place and get a home playoff game and conference champions. But I think Eagleton matches up pretty well. I think it'll be a very close game. I don't know who's going to win. I'm going to put
with South Green's number 3 Raider out, still being out.
Yeah,
they're looking to have Tripp run the ball again. But I mean, if Eagleton's linebacker and secondaries just watch out for that QB draw and everything else they ran, I think if they punch him in the mouth, Eagleton could really they can definitely win.
South Green being injured and Eagleton, from what I know, having everybody. I mean, I'm going to say Eagleton in a very close game, like 20-22 or something. Like a 2-point conversion is going to decide this. Last year, a 2-point conversion actually decided this. Carson, if you want to speak on that and just the game overall tonight.
Well, I had a chance to talk to Coach Jones Monday during our JV game, and he said that he's going to push for Raider to be back Friday. So I think that looks like South Green's really looking to go all out versus Eagleton, which means that they're kind of familiar with what Eagleton can do based off the game last year, as you said, coming down to a 2-point conversion.
Some people said it was a bull crap call that Eagleton didn't win on the 2-point conversion, inches short. They said they got the football in. It's a lot of controversy. It's to see if Eagleton can make it up this year.
Yeah, I could see a very close game with South Green Eagleton. Obviously, we would like for Eagleton to win, but I think it's going to come down to who's more physical with these two teams, and I think South Green just barely has the physicality over Eagleton. Unfortunately, I'm going to go South Green here tonight.
Yeah, South Green's on their high horse right now, and they just may not be paying a lot of attention to Eagleton, and Eagleton comes in and gives them a rough time. It's just something we got to monitor tonight, and if Eagleton wins, that puts us back in first, and hopefully we get another shot at South Green in the playoffs. A new thing we're adding this week is college football for this week. So, Carson, if you want to lead the college football talk this week, we're going to do a few local games. I believe ETSU being off this week. So, Carson's going to talk about a few Tennessee teams and one big NCAA football game.
Well, if ETSU being on a bye week this week, if you're local in the Chattanooga area or in just the Nashville area, you'll have a chance to watch Chattanooga versus Wofford and Austin Peay versus Utah Tech. Chattanooga on a 3-game win streak after starting 0-3, and Wofford is currently on a 2-game losing streak. So I would look for Chattanooga to pick up a win there. Austin Peay looking to.
Didn't Chattanooga beat ETSU a few weeks ago?
They did in a very close game. ETSU bouncing back.
that was a
after
surprising
win,
one
after
I
a
saw.
comeback win against Sanford.
Yeah, and playing that close with NDSU, the number 1 team in FCS right now. That was surprising. But Carson, sorry to interrupt you. I was just talking about
that's
Chattanooga.
good. Glad that you mentioned that. And if you're looking to watch Austin Peay versus Utah Tech, Austin Peay is looking to head up to a 2-game win streak, and Utah Tech is looking for their first win of the year. They are 0-7. And now for the big games of the week, we have
Georgia has to
Texas, Georgia. Texas 3.5 points favorites to win this game with a 76% chance. And Georgia's just looking to go into Austin, Texas, and pull off a huge win against Texas.
Yeah, let's talk about that game, all of us. Murray being a Georgia fan, Murray, what do you got to say about Georgia, Texas? I know you're hoping for a Georgia win.
I mean, I would love to see a Georgia win, but I mean, if we play the second half football we played against Alabama, I think we can come off with the
But
win.
if you guys play the first half, it's not going to happen.
If Carson Beck, man, I mean, we kind of have to rely on him to play good. If Carson Beck doesn't play good, we already know how good Texas offense is. I mean, they can move the ball whenever and however they want to move the ball.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, you have 3 of the best quarterbacks almost, and Quinn going down and Arch coming up, and now Quinn being back. So it's like no matter what you do, Texas,
you have to face a good quarterback.
Yeah,
it's going to tear you apart.
Texas is always going to be a good team this year, no matter what you do. So I think Georgia just has to come in and play football. And if they play football, then you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I've definitely got Texas winning this game. Texas is my national championship pick for this year. I just think they're going to be unstoppable. We ain't really saw a threat be posed to them yet. Jamie, do you got anything to say about Texas, Georgia?
I'm a Tennessee fan, so it's a good day when Georgia loses.
Yeah,
so.
well, both SEC teams now, right, Carson?
Yeah, Texas making their move to the SEC this year, along with Oklahoma. Texas hasn't really had any competition, and I think this will be the first competition they verse. You can just about predict if Texas pulls off a win against Georgia at home, you can expect them to make a run to SEC championship.
I feel like it's a big difference between the NFL and college and a home standpoint, because in college, a home standpoint can literally make the biggest difference.
But I feel like don't see Texas as a SEC team.
I don't see how. I mean, I think Texas.
What? No, not for me.
I think Texas is an SEC team. They're the powerhouse this year, and they're probably going to be a powerhouse the next few years with Archie Manning.
It's gonna happen.
This is a delusional Tennessee fan talking here.
I would like to build on that. I think the reason he is saying he doesn't see Texas as an SEC team is because of the heartbreaking loss to Arkansas.
Yeah,
If you don't think Texas is an SEC team,
what about the heartbreaking loss to Vanderbilt?
Texas is an undefeated team that has no competition. Texas, we all know Texas can easily beat Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee.
I'm not saying that I just don't see them as a SEC team yet, where they just join.
But it's okay. Tennessee has a big game against Bama this week, so Carson, let's talk on Bama, Tennessee.
But before he talks on that, I would like to say I already have a prediction of that game, and I think Bama's going to come out 45-24.
Yeah, but
Tennessee is a fraud.
Actually, we're going to talk about another game beforehand.
Before we get to Tennessee and Alabama, I'd like to mention that Michigan being ranked lower than Illinois at 24 and Illinois 21, Michigan is 1-point favorites as they have a 60% chance to win against Illinois at Illinois.
Illinois is wearing their jerseys this week.
Illinois wearing their 100-year uniforms against Michigan. You would kind of expect Illinois thinking that they'll pick up a win against the reigning national champion, Michigan, which hasn't really had a promising year. But I think I'm going to go Illinois, even though they're 1-point underdogs. I think they pick up a good win against Michigan.
Yeah, I don't think Michigan. I don't know. I just think Michigan's in kind of like a rebuilding type, because they took a big loss to Texas. And ever since then, they've just kind of like fell off a cliff, I could say. Jamie, what do you got to say about Michigan, Illinois?
I don't think Michigan should be the favorite. I think Illinois should. They're I think what you said, at Illinois. Mm-hmm. I think Illinois will win this game. Not by a big margin. I think you said the spread was 1 point. But I believe Illinois will win.
Illinois also looking to pick up this win. Also, the
Big Ten.
Pretty much get themselves in this position to go to the Big Ten championship early. they still got to go through Ohio State and Oregon. Oregon showing that they are a team to be messed with in the Big Ten as they won against Ohio State last week. But moving on to what I believe is the game of the week, and that will be Tennessee versus Alabama.
Good backstory for this. Carson, an Alabama fan. Jamie, a Tennessee fan. So this is going to be probably pretty heated right now in a few minutes.
I'm gonna smack him.
Okay. Personally, I have Tennessee winning this game.
Thank you.
Alabama took a very, very rough loss to Vandy. And, I don't even think Carson's recovered from that. He's still – he cries every day. Like, we see him at football cry every day. And me being kind of a Tennessee fan, I'm more like – I like App State. But App State, I don't think it's ever going to win a national championship. So I pull for Tennessee because, volunteer state, it's where we live. I think Tennessee's going to win. I think their D-line will make a big impact on Jalen Monroe. And I think James Pierce is going to take over this game.
Yeah, no, Alabama 45-24.
I don't care what anybody says.
Wow.
Alabama 3-point favorites as they go to Neyland. We mentioned.
Remember what happened last
we
time?
We mentioned Murray. Yeah, but Tennessee looking to win big at home like they did 2 years ago.
Jalen Milroe for Heisman.
No.
Alabama's key points to think to win this game is to pressure Nico. They think that if they get him under pressure, then this will be smooth ride for their defense.
But I
and
feel
the
like
offense just keeps going. They struggled the past 2 weeks, obviously losing to Vanderbilt, which, yeah, I'm still sad about that. But, and then you play at home against South Carolina. You were looking to destroy them, which you started hot.
Which you didn't.
Started hot, but at least we didn't lose to Arkansas. But
I would have rather lost to Arkansas than South Carolina and Vanderbilt.
And Tennessee having a pretty easy game next week, too. Mississippi State. I don't think it's going to be a good game at all.
I'm not done with this game.
Okay.
Alabama is frauds. They have nothing. They can't stop Tennessee's receivers.
Thank God Saban.
The corners suck. There's no name a corner for Alabama.
This is literally washed.
Name a corner for
getting bad.
Alabama.
By the way, being a friend with Jamie since freshman year, for the last 2 years, he has said Tennessee's going to win the national championship. And
every year
they have been first or second round exits. I'd like to say that.
Yeah, but now we get the 12-team playoffs.
12-team playoff being new format of the playoff.
Big news.
You could see Tennessee sneak in, but
we're not sneaking in. We're making it.
With their schedule this year, I just don't see them making it.
I think the SEC got so much tougher especially the addition
of Texas and even Oklahoma in some way. Like your lower ranked SEC teams looking to, I guess, build up.
Always hard to play.
And they have to go through Oklahoma. So I don't know. You could just about predict the winner of this game. It is sitting pretty high in the SEC. Alabama really needing this comfortable win on the road. But Tennessee's looking to shock Alabama like they did at home 2 years ago, and we'll just have to see what happens there. Me picking Alabama, obviously, and Jamie picking Tennessee. We'll just have to see how it goes.
One more thing before we go back to high school sports and last week's games. Let's talk about the Heisman race. Who do you guys got as your Heisman? And no,
Travis Hunter is delusional.
Yeah, Travis Hunter. I believe it's Ashton Jeanty. We ain't saw a season like this from a running back in a long time. Travis Hunter saying there's plenty of running backs like that. I don't believe that. Ashton Jeanty's having a season. Only Barry Sanders, my personal GOAT of running backs in the NFL. I think Ashton Jeanty should run away with it.
I think Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter mentioned the other day, if he was the running back and had got 96 carries and over 1,000 yards, then would they be saying the same about him? I think he's making a good point, especially for a two-way player. You don't see that a lot in college.
There was Jabril Peppers a few years ago for Michigan, right?
I would say Tennessee almost lost to Florida, but I'd say Travis Hunter was probably the Heisman winner, honestly. Just two-way player. Ashton Jeanty he's a great running back. Obviously breaking many records.
But the one thing you could say about Ashton Jeanty is the competition he plays. He isn't playing SEC
Oregon.
teams. He isn't
played
playing.
Oregon.
Well, yeah, but
he played Oregon.
I think he put Ashton
200 up.
Well, you mentioned
And
Oregon.
lost.
You mentioned Oregon. They lost to Oregon, but I think if you put Ashton Jeanty in a Power 5,
he's going to dominate. Still, I think his contact balance is just something you don't see. He can't really just get.
I think he would play a little bit less of what he is now, and he would just kind of he would just. I think he would blend in with most of the running backs.
Boise State's ranked what in
they're ranked 17th.
Yeah, we could see them sneak into the 12-team playoffs, and then Jeanty gets his real shot at what if he's the Heisman or not. that's the competition they'd have to face.
Speaking of Heisman, you got 2 Heisman quarterbacks playing this Saturday in Tennessee versus Alabama. Nico in the 8th spot for Heisman. Hasn't really played like it the past 2 weeks, but he is still a Heisman contender.
You say the same about Milroe too, though.
Yeah, Milroe still,
he is the heart of Alabama offense right now. I mean,
yeah.
He can run, he can pass, he can throw it 1,000,000 yards.
I think it's Williams.
I would also like to say,
No, don't bring Carson back.
No, when Tennessee beat Alabama, they looked at Jalen Hyatt all game. Jalen Hyatt had probably the best game he's ever had in college.
Because they're
Could we see this?
I'm looking to see Ryan Williams have like a crazy Ryan. This is
their corners.
This is a story game. Jamie,
roll.
So
I'm looking to have Ryan Williams have like a story, but just a storybook game. I mean, I feel like a lot of young wide receivers have a game like this that goes against a big team.
Ryan Williams, being a young receiver at 17 years old.
How old are you, Carson? 18?
Yeah.
Everybody in this room, I believe, is older than Ryan Williams.
Nope. I'm the only one older than Ryan Williams, sadly. But Ryan Williams being young, you would think Tennessee would just, if they can pressure him early, I think that'll be a big, struggle in our offense. But if they get Ryan Williams going, I think this could be a nightmare for Tennessee's secondary.
Did Bama play at Georgia?
No, Bama hosted Georgia.
So this is Bama's first
This is Alabama's first road test.
Yeah, in a tough stadium. You'd say stadium pulse is bumping.
Mm-hmm.
Toughest place to play, toughest rank.
But I think if we just keep the noise level down, get firing out early, I think we should be comfortable with beating Tennessee.
Okay, well, back to high school sports after the long arguments and everything else we had. Last week, Elizabethton beat Northview 49-20. E-Town getting another win, but Slagle winning player of the week. Slagle went 21 for 21 passing, 282 yards passing. He had 74 yards on the ground. He had 4 passing TDs and 2 rushing TDs. That's 6 touchdowns and over 350 yards of offense for him himself. What do you got to say about that, Carson? I know it's Northview's actually not a bad team either. Like, it's not like we could say like a volunteer team or something like that.
Even if it was against a bad team, it's impressive to go 21 for 21 in any game, honestly. I think E-Town just looking to get rolling as much as they can, and with a QB that can do that, it's really calming for a coach like Witten to know that he has a QB that can.
Slagle a sophomore or a junior?
He's a sophomore, I think.
Yeah, so he has 2 more years to grow, and I mean we could see him maybe compete for Mr. Tennessee football. We really could. But Zach Wallen had 7 catches and 118 yards. I guess that was Slagle's favorite target of the night. E-Town had 418 yards of offense. Slagle, of course, having more than half of that. E-Town first in conference with a 5-2 record, 4-0 in the region. I believe it's really all going to come down to Greenville, Elizabethton. What you think the same, Carson?
I think the same, but I think we all know who's going to come up with the win against Greenville and E-Town. E-Town, I would like to see some fight against that Elizabethton can bring against Greenville, but Greenville is just always loaded. Like it's any year, like they're always loaded from head to toe. And E-Town, losing a lot of guys from last year, and I think
lost to Science Hill, which is a very good team, but we don't know how Science Hill and Greenville match up because we don't get to see them play. So I would love to see that matchup, and I believe Murray would also love to see Science Hill Greenville play. But what do you think about Elizabethton?
Science Hill win.
What do you think about Elizabeth and the Greenville matchup in a few weeks? Do you think that's going to be the decider? Or do you think Elizabethton's going to get shocked anytime soon?
Oh, Greenville's going to destroy Elizabethton. But the thing is I think Elizabethton this year might make a pretty good run in the playoffs, and I think they're going to have to replay Greenville maybe second, third round.
Is it at Greenville or at Elizabethton, Carson?
It'll be at Greenville, so it'd be tough for a tough environment that Elizabethton's going to walk into, but I wouldn't really look for them to win against Greenville, but if they can just make it close, then that would be enough momentum in itself. So just best of luck to Elizabethton as they get the season finishing, as we finish up the season and head towards playoffs. I guess just make a good fight against Greenville.
Yeah. Another game we talked about last week, Cloudland, Jellicoe. Cloudland won this game 35-0. Grayson Cole had a big game. Cloudland moves to a 3-2 record. Jellicoe 1-6. I believe this was a conference game. Cloudland, I believe this is their first game back after the hurricane and the floods. Actually, Cloudland and Hampton was supposed to play this Monday at Happy Valley, but it ended up getting canceled. I know Murray was excited for that game like 2 or 3 weeks ago. He's ready to see who would win the Smash Mouth football battle, but unfortunately, we didn't get to see that game. I still think Cloudland's going to take that division. It really comes down to the Cosby game, but I still think Cloudland's got this division in the bag. We talked about Tennessee, David Crockett. We go over it real quick. 55 points by Tennessee High. That's a very big win for Tennessee High. And just a big loss for Crockett. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. But Hampton and West Green last week, 38-0. Lungsford being named Titans Coach of the Week this week from the Tennessee Titans. And all this is after the hurricane came through and wiped out Hampton. And them coming in and getting a massive almost 40-point win on West Green, a conference game. Dominique Burleson had 199 yards rushing. I mean, they've been using our field to practice. We're excited that Hampton played West Green good, and we're looking for Hampton. If Eagleton can't pull off the South Green win, for Hampton to go play South Green with a chip on their shoulder and beat South Green.
And I think Hampton already knows that. I think they know that they have a real good shot against South Green physically, and I think they're just getting a lot of hype up for when they do go South Green and play. I think Hampton really great chance of beating South Green physically. It's going to take a lot to beat South Green, as we experienced it last week. But I really like my chances of either Hampton or Eagleton, in that matter, beating South Green.
Back on the Hampton game, you said he had 199 yards.
Yeah.
Why not give him one more carry?
Yeah,
he
may have had 200. Just the stat keepers. Yeah, they get the stats wrong sometimes. I saw some crazy stats, but I mean Hampton, like we said, playing with a chip on their shoulder. We need. I think Hampton's more playing for a home playoff game than anything, and I'm not sure how that home playoff game would work. I don't know if they'd play it here or where they'd play it, because unfortunately Hampton's field got wiped out by Hurricane Helene. So best of luck to Hampton, and we hope they beat South Green. And talking about South Green, we can talk about South Green Happy Valley last week. Tough loss for us, 21-6. Very hard fought battle till halftime, 0-0 at halftime. And I mean Nash Rader went down, and we had a few injuries. We had Tyler Bailey went down. I went down. Jamie, he tweaked his ankle, I believe.
It was my arm.
He hurt his arm. Yeah, and I mean everybody was hurt. It was what I called an IR game. Not an excuse though. I mean South Green just played very physical, and we kind of went out there and laid an egg. Not in the first half. We played great defense and we played some good offense. It was just we couldn't capitalize on the turnovers we would get or the red zone. We couldn't capitalize on offense, which is unusual for us. That's what we do. That's what we're known for, is capitalizing.
I think, it being 0-0 at the half, you would, both offenses struggling, but I think our offense just got tired. We came out at the second half and we turned it over on 4th and 1 in our own
red zone.
In our own. No, not really. It was towards midfield. Yeah. But
Yeah, that 4th and 1, big game changer.
I think after that I guess we kind of saw that our offense wasn't working, and we just relied too much on the defense to get it done, and the defense get worn out by South Green's offense. And South Green playing physical, as we mentioned, but I think, South Green, I think they punched it in. They didn't pass it for a touchdown. They just punched it in all 3 times. And, when you get the ball run down your throat and you don't have an answer on it.
Yeah, once they got happy. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about the leading rushers because it was mostly just a rushing game. Not many passes through. There was one big, deep pass, and it was unfortunately on Jamie, but at that time, his arm was killing him. He couldn't even really get his arm up. But Knees, I believe is how you say it, their backup running back, came in. He had 23 carries for 134 yards. He stepped up big for them. Jamie stepped up big for us. He had one really big counter play where he took it for, I believe, 70 yards. 55, 60 yards, and Jamie ended up having 8 carries for 105 yards. That's a very good stat line for Jamie. A big breakout game for Jamie, like we've been looking for Jamie all year. And we're hoping for Jamie to have a very big game tonight, and we're hoping to just bounce back from the South Green loss and eventually either get to play them again or one of these teams beat them for us to go back in first place in conference.
I'm very proud of our defense. This is the most points we've allowed all season, 21, which I think is pretty crazy. Is because we've played some good teams. We played Hampton, Eagleton, and South Green's the most we allowed, which is 21. That's 3 touchdowns, and that was it.
Yeah, we can see now South Green's beatable. It's just we had we kind of laid an egg whenever we went out there, like I said, and that's why I could see Eagleton as someone beating them. The same thing happened last year, but we beat South Green, and then South Green almost lost to Eagleton. It's easy to get up on that high horse and then fall off that high horse. So. A big game from last week. The O's got a go game. Yaneka versus Hancock. Yaneka pulls away 38-18. Murray, tell us a little bit about Yaneka and Hancock and how happy you were to see Yaneka or Hancock get a win here.
I really wanted to see Hancock win.
Yeah,
I kind of
I
started
love
feeling.
Hancock.
Hancock is like they're really when we played them, they have really good sportsmanship. Like obviously, I hate to say it, they're not a great team, but it's kind of like they don't care. Like they're just there to play football.
That we hit them hard.
Shows them for the love of their sport.
I think that's what matters most. Is like even though we talk about all these predictions and all these wins, I think the main purpose of all these teams and all these students is honestly just play football.
Yeah,
Like,
speaking of sportsmanship, South Green showed great sportsmanship last week.
we're all here to do one thing, and that's really just play a sport we love.
Yeah, and unfortunately, South Green's volleyball, their gym got set on fire, and they was deep in the playoff sub-state for volleyball, so they may be playing here, but prayers for them.
They're playing in state right now more so.
Yeah, I mean that was very sad after a big win for the school, and then that happens. I mean that's not something you ever want to happen. And my surprising game was Unicoi Volunteer. I mean Unicoi beating them 41-27, but still Volunteer scoring that much on Unicoi was not expected on my part. I don't think, and I don't think Murray. I think Murray would agree. I don't think we was expecting Volunteer to score 27 on Unicoi.
Oh, they actually played
Pretty good.
They played semi good. Yeah, played actually really good against Unicoi. Not a bad loss for them.
Yeah, Colby Jones had a big game.
Colby Jones is a great quarterback. I think that's the deciding.
He's got all the good traits. He's tall. He has a good arm. He's fast. I mean, he's got all the good traits of a good quarterback. So, Carson, you got anything to say about Unicoi Volunteer?
He kind of looks a little Mahoney.
Yeah, I just think. I think you gotta know when you're playing Unicoi that you're gonna be dealing against a great QB and Colby Jones. I think,
and they got a great running too.
Yeah,
Salts. I mean, he had a big game too. I mean, you got to expect both from everybody. I mean, and Volunteer, they're a high passing offense. So,
well, yeah, you mentioned Unicoi. Probably should have beaten Volunteer by more. But I think if I'm not mistaken, they are coming off a loss against Gatlinburg Pittman.
mm-hmm.
So any win that you can get after a loss against Gatlinburg Pittman is it's a good win. But probably should have beaten by more. But anyway, a win's a win.
We could also talk about Gatlinburg Pittman beating Claiborne, like you just said, 56-0. I mean that was a big game. Sevier County, their quarterback, I believe his name's Newman. He had a very big game, and he's doing very, very good this season. They beat Mo West 37-7, and a kind of surprising game. Jefferson County beating Westridge 48-34. Westridge, Murray would say, another fraud check. Westridge, we didn't get to mention that game. We did not mention it. Westridge is playing West Green tonight. I'm not sure how that came about. I'm not sure how a 2A team got up to, a 6A team?
Yeah.
5 6A team. I think
Battle of the West.
I think both teams are just looking to play an extra game. I know West Green probably had to cancel one of their games due to the hurricane that went through Greene County. So, it's good for West Green to be able to play tonight. To pick up a game against Westridge.
Yeah, we need to Battle of the West, some Western music.
Yeah, but you could, I guess, just look for Westridge to just come out early and just.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Trey Frazier to have 500 yards tonight and probably win by 50.
That's a bit bizarre.
I mean, we play West Green in 2 weeks from now at West Green.
On Halloween.
I'm not saying anything bad about West Green. I'm just saying this is a 5A team versus a 2A team. Westridge
this is also my upset alert. I actually have West Green. I have West Green. I have West Green winning this game 28-17.
If West Green wins this game, I'll quit the podcast. I promise, Murray.
No, I think it's nice to see. Someone pick an upset.
Didn't you have an upset last?
I did,
but it did not happen.
It did not happen at all. But it's nice to have some faith in these teams. You know what I'm saying?
And the last game we're going to talk about before it's over is Johnson County, Chuckee Oak. Another Johnson County, almost 60 bump. Johnson County playing in 3A. Unfortunately, has to play Alcoa. Could Johnson County play Alcoa this year?
Maybe not first round, but if they can just pick up
if they can somehow get away from Alcoa,
2 or 3 playoff wins,
that's better.
That's better than what they've been averaging the past 3 years.
I believe that Alcoa is going for their 10th straight national championship.
This is insane.
National champions.
Alcoa is going for number X, but this is insane. But Johnson County, I think you look at Johnson County and what they've been through the past 2 or 3 years, and You can't help but
Don't
just
they
feel
have
happy
like
for
20
them.
seniors?
Yeah.
I bet that senior night was like 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long.
Insane amount of time spent on senior night. But, for them to come out and beat Chucky Doke on the senior night, it's a great win. I don't know who they play next.
Yeah,
but-
if you're listening, Nate Dorman, I love you. But this is going to be the end of Beyond the Stands. Thank you for listening.